Now on the King's visit to Australia, we're joined by royal commentator Angela Mollard. Good morning to you, Angela. So this announcement only mentions a possible royal visit, of course. How likely do you think it is?
Look, I think it's very likely now. The fact is that we knew there was going to be a visit around the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. That was then sort of put on the back burner while we didn't know what the King's health prognosis is. I think the suggestion is that it will go ahead. It takes a year to actually plan a royal visit, so I think it's very likely.
So this Hunger Games of states, of Australian states, that's pretty unusual, or we haven't heard it before. Is that what they normally do?
That's typically, and of course now that we've got a little bit less time, they'll be looking for things that, you know, what the King and Camilla want to do, of course. I think we'll be seeing Victoria and Tasmania in the mix. King Charles hasn't, well, he was obviously then Prince Charles. He hasn't been to those states since 2012 when he was last here for the Commonwealth Games in 2018. He was in Queensland in the Northern Territory. So it's up to the states to make an interesting program. But there's a lot of factors that have to come into play. You have to, of course, think about security. You have to think about camera angles. You have to think about where a cavalcade can come because, of course, they want to meet the public. That's the whole point of these royal tours.
So we've just heard the New South Wales Premier, Chris Minns, say, oh, we don't have to do much. You know, we've got the Opera House and the bridge and, you know, it's such a beautiful city. Is he right? Will they naturally come to Sydney?
Look, I think they probably will fly into Sydney, but Minns is resting on his laurels, I think. There's a lot of lovely other parts of this country, and we know, of course, that cities are one of the most least interesting things to the King. He's very much into nature and to sustainability. So I think if you were to put a pitch to him for some of those aspects of his interest, he'll be jumping for those instead.
But at least it shows that the King must be in reasonable health to be planning that. So
well, absolutely. I think that speaks volumes that he isn't possibly as severely ill as we think.
Exactly. Thank you, Angela.
Thanks.
Here's Sherbo.